Chrono Locks imagine a device that could freeze time, not for the universe, but for a single object. A glass of water suspended mid-splash. A bullet halted in the air. A dying star caught on the brink of collapse, paused indefinitely in its final moment. This is the concept behind Chrono Locks, a theoretical class of temporal stasis technology designed to remove matter from the flow of time itself. It's one of those ideas that straddles the boundary between physics, philosophy, and science fiction, yet, some researchers believe it could one day become a scientific reality. To understand Chrono Locks, we first need to explore the fabric of time itself. In physics, time isn't an independent flow, it's a dimension, woven together with space into a four-dimensional continuum known as spacetime. When an object moves, it doesn't just move through space, it moves through time. Every atom, every particle, experiences its own unique trajectory through this continuum, a path we call a world line. Now, imagine if we could intercept that world line, isolate it, and hold it static. Essentially, to disconnect an object's timeline from the rest of the universe. That is the core of a chrono lock. At its simplest level, a chrono lock would function as a localized temporal containment field. It would manipulate the rate at which time passes within a designated region, slowing it to a near zero or absolute zero flow. From the outside, the locked object would appear frozen, untouched by decay, movement, or change. Inside, from the object's own reference frame, nothing would happen. No awareness, no time. Just an endless instant. The challenge is obvious. How can you pause time in one area without violating causality everywhere else? Physicists theorize that if chrono locks were possible, they would rely on extreme manipulation of spacetime curvature, similar to how black holes warp time around them. Near a black hole's event horizon, time slows dramatically relative to distant observers. A chrono lock would replicate this effect, not through mass or gravity, but through controlled temporal field resonance, essentially a standing wave of spacetime distortion that isolates a zone from temporal flow. Think of it like trapping a bubble of space inside a frozen river of time. The underlying mechanism might involve quantum field harmonics, tuning subatomic fluctuations to cancel out the passage of time at the Planck scale. In theory, time itself can be viewed as a quantum process, governed by entropy and information change. If a device could regulate or reverse entropy locally, time could be paused for any matter within that field. This would require manipulating energy densities beyond anything humanity has ever produced, perhaps using exotic matter with negative energy, or dark energy-like fields that repel rather than attract. Now imagine the applications. Chrono locks could revolutionize preservation. Medical teams could freeze patients at the moment of fatal injury, holding them indefinitely until a cure or treatment exists. Archaeologists could encase fragile relics in timeless bubbles, preventing decay forever. Even space travelers could use chrono locks as cryostasis chambers, except instead of sleeping for centuries, they'd simply skip those years entirely. No hunger, no aging, no subjective time passing. You'd enter the chrono lock, activate it, and instantly arrive in the future. On a grander scale, chrono locks could become tools for planetary defense. Imagine freezing an incoming asteroid mid-flight, suspending it safely until it could be dismantled. Or locking a runaway fusion reactor before meltdown. They could serve as time vaults, encasing entire structures or cities during cataclysmic events. A civilization could literally preserve itself in stasis, waiting out cosmic disasters, or even the death of the universe itself. But with such power comes unimaginable risk. If time can be stopped locally, could it be restarted incorrectly? Could information decay when time resumes? The smallest miscalibration might mean that the reactivation process unleashes catastrophic energy, as frozen entropy suddenly reasserts itself. Some theorists call this the temporal rebound effect, a massive discharge of energy proportional to the duration of stasis and the complexity of the locked system. In simple terms, the longer you stay frozen, the more explosive your return might be. There's also the moral dimension. What does it mean to suspend life or consciousness outside time? For the frozen subject, no experience passes, no suffering, but no awareness either. Yet for the rest of reality, centuries could pass. Would such technology create a new form of temporal inequality, where the rich could pause their lives indefinitely while the poor live and die in real time? Could it be used as punishment, freezing someone eternally without death? Or as a military tool, freezing entire battlefields mid-conflict? The ethical implications are staggering. Let's dig deeper into the physics. Time dilation, as predicted by Einstein's relativity, already gives us a tiny glimpse of Chrono Lock-like behavior. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station experience time slightly slower than people on Earth. At higher velocities or stronger gravitational fields, that effect increases. A chrono lock would simply take this to the extreme, zero velocity through time. Achieving that could involve temporal counterfields, opposing waves that neutralize the forward progression of temporal motion. Picture two sound waves colliding perfectly to create silence. Chrono locks would do the same for time. Of course, implementing such a system would demand an energy source capable of warping spacetime itself, something on par with black hole power output. One hypothetical method involves graviton resonance generators, devices that stimulate the gravitational field at quantum frequencies, effectively creating microcurvatures in spacetime. Another involves tachyon containment, using faster-than-light particles to generate localized time offsets. Yet each idea raises new paradoxes. How do you prevent feedback loops that ripple through causality? How do you keep the rest of the universe consistent when one region's timeline is paused? There's also the computational challenge. A chrono lock would require near omniscient control over every atom within its field to ensure stability. Even the tiniest quantum fluctuation could collapse the containment, leading to temporal shockwaves. Some scientists propose that only quantum AI systems, machines capable of processing infinite parallel outcomes, could maintain such precise balance. This intertwines chrono locks with the broader evolution of sentient technology, AI not just as a tool, but as a custodian of reality's flow. Imagine the future where chrono locks become routine. Hospitals equipped with stasis pods. Libraries of suspended artifacts. A world where death, decay, and destruction are no longer permanent, only paused. Humanity could store itself between ages of prosperity, waking only when the conditions are right. We could even use them to leap across cosmic epochs, enter a chrono lock today and awaken when the Milky Way merges with Andromeda. To the traveler, it would feel instantaneous. To the universe, eons would have passed. In a more philosophical sense, chrono locks challenge our very definition of time and identity. If time defines experience, and experience defines existence, then what are we when time stands still? Are we still alive in stasis? Or do we only exist when observed, when moving forward through the continuum? Chrono locks don't just pause matter, they pause meaning. They ask whether immortality without awareness is truly life, or simply a form of perfect death. Yet there's another possibility. Perhaps chrono locks could be tuned not to absolute zero, but to different speeds of time. We might one day create temporal gardens, zones where time flows 1,000 times slower, preserving ecosystems in eternal bloom. or accelerated labs, where time moves faster inside, allowing centuries of research to occur in days. Time would become just another programmable parameter, adjustable like temperature or gravity. Entire industries could form around temporal engineering, the art of shaping time itself for production, preservation, or exploration. Let's step even further. What if Chrono Locks could operate not just in physical space, but in data space? Digital Chrono Locks could freeze AI minds, simulations, or networks in stasis. A government could archive entire societies of virtual beings, reviving them centuries later. Historical epochs could be preserved as living, interactive memories. We could revisit moments in history by unfreezing their digital twins. Time travel wouldn't mean moving through time. It would mean controlling when and how time resumes for specific systems. And yet, every new power invites paradox. If you can freeze time for an object, what happens at the boundary where frozen and unfrozen time meet? Is it a perfect barrier, or a region of distortion where time bleeds between speeds? Would those edges generate bizarre visual or energetic phenomena, glowing horizons, infinite reflections, or gravitational echoes? Scientists theorize that Chrono Locks could produce temporal diffraction, bending light and probability around their edges. You might see yourself reflected from multiple possible futures at once. In fiction, we often see Chrono Locks portrayed as instant safes or traps. But in reality, they would be among the most complex systems ever built, combining relativity, quantum mechanics, and ethics into one machine. They would blur the lines between science and divinity, the power to preserve, to pause, and to decide when reality continues. It's not hard to imagine how governments or corporations might try to monopolize such control. Entire economies could revolve around temporal storage and trade, leasing stasis time, storing wealth, or hiding resources in frozen vaults immune to decay and discovery. In the distant future, when humanity masters both space and time, Chrono Locks might even become our final defense against cosmic entropy. As the universe cools and dies billions of years from now, civilizations might encase themselves in timeless capsules, waiting for a new Big Bang. Inside, they would neither age nor decay, only exist in an eternal instant. When the next universe begins, they could emerge as the architects of reality 2.0. Chrono Locks, then, aren't just about freezing time, they're about mastering destiny. They represent the ultimate pause button for existence, the dream of absolute control over decay, chance, and mortality. Whether they ever become real depends on how far physics, and humanity's wisdom, can evolve. Because to hold time still is to hold responsibility for everything that ever was, and everything that will ever be. And perhaps that's the most fascinating idea of all, that somewhere in the far reaches of the cosmos, advanced civilizations might already be using Chrono Locks, entire worlds suspended mid-moment, waiting for the rest of time to catch up. Silent, perfect, and patient, like cosmic seeds of eternity. Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment to share your thoughts, and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future uploads. Your support helps this channel grow. Thank you for watching.